that under oath.
That may have been overtaken by events now, and we'll see whether the special counsel is indeed looking at obstruction, including of the president.
Doubtful.
Part of the reason, as you know, that this story has persisted is because the White House and the president's surrogates have told conflicting stories. First, they said no contacts with Russia, and then it turned out there were at least 18 contacts. The story broke in the New York Times saying the president was involved in the drafting of his son Don Jr.'s misleading response to that meeting he had with Russians during the campaign. And Jay Sekulow, the president's attorney, came on GA and told me this, saying the president was not involved.
The president didn't sign off on anything. The president wasn't involved in that.
Well, the New York Times says that he was involved in it, that several people on the plane were involved in it as well. So you're disputing
That's incorrect.
That account from the New York Times.
Yes.
But just this week, when the Washington Post reported with more detail that the president was indeed involved in the drafting, Sarah Sanders, the press secretary, conceded it. Let's listen.
The president weighed in as any father would based on the limited information that he had. This is all discussion, frankly, of no consequence.
Two very different answers in the space of 2 weeks there, Kellyanne.
The most important thing that Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said there, which is completely true, is that there's no consequence to any of these meetings. The president weighed in as a father. He did not dictate the statement.
But first, the White House and the president's lawyers said he wasn't involved at all. They didn't tell the truth.
George, you know, I know there's this whole thing about where everybody wants to take
about
this tack.
Telling the truth.
You know, let's talk about, let's talk about telling the truth. Let's talk about a president looking Americans in the eye who are still suffering 8 years later, who were lied to. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Benghazi happened because of a video. Go tell the families of those 4 innocent
Kellyanne,
Americans
you're simply
who were
changing the subject right here.
that lie mattered.
Hold on a second.
No, that is the subject. Let's talk about credibility that
President
impacts
Obama
people.
and Hillary Clinton. Right there, I said
Those were big lies.
directly different responses within 2 weeks. How do you explain that? Can the president and his team get control of that and be open and truthful about the Russia investigation?
George, the president has said the entire investigation is fabricated, that this is a conclusion in search of evidence. They've come up with nothing. We've been doing this for almost about a year now. And what is there to show for it? What has actually metastasized in a way that we can say, wow, there's a smoking gun? Silver bullet. I spent a lot of time with you during the campaign as a campaign manager on your 2 programs, and others did with ABC as well. What one thing did we ever say, do, or conspire that had anything to do with Russia? When I needed negative information about Hillary Clinton, I took a moment and I listened to Hillary Clinton. I mean, we went to Michigan,
Kellyanne,
not
but wait
Moscow.
a second. We know now what has come up in just the last few weeks is that Don Jr. responded to an email saying that he was going to get Russian government information on Hillary Clinton. That was not out during the campaign. That was revealed just in the last several weeks.
Right, but what came of that meeting? Nothing. Jared Kushner shared with the House and Senate committees and then with all of us in a public statement at the White House about 10 days ago, George, that he had texted an aide and said, please get me out of this meeting. It's a waste of time. If you're getting dirt on your political opponent, if you're getting the silver bullet and the secret sauce on how to win the election, you don't ask your aide to pull you out of the meeting. You say, please order lunch. Let's just stay a while. There's nothing. It was nonsense. It was a ridiculous meeting. It was nothing. People want to offer their services and have meetings all of the time. Believe me, I know you know this. But let's look at the consequence. No follow-up, no results, no relatability. I was never informed of that meeting. I found out about it when you found out about it, when the rest of the public did. When the president had no knowledge of that meeting.
Bottom line, Kellyanne.
Yes.
Does the president commit to not firing Robert Mueller?
The president has not even discussed that. The president is not discussing firing Bob Mueller.
But will he commit not to fire him?
And cooperating with... He has not even discussed He's not discussed firing Bob Mueller.
That's not what I'm asking.
And in fact, Ty Cobb... Well, hold on. I'm not the president's lawyer here, but I will tell you as his counselor, he is not discussing that. You have to listen to his special counsel, Ty Cobb, who works in the White House now, and has said very clearly, George, this week, that we will continue to cooperate with Bob Mueller in his investigation, even though he just hired the 16th person. Many of them are Democratic donors. But we'll continue to cooperate and comply. And Ty Cobb said something